All right. For this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at my top 5 amps in the Helix. I noticed I watched Jason Sadites. I don't know how you say his last name. But y'all probably, if you're a Helix user who's been watching videos for very long about the Helix, you know who I'm talking about. Well, he did one of these a while back. It was his top 5 amps that he likes. And I thought it was kind of a cool idea, so I figured I'd do my take on it. Because my take's a little different than his, and I'm sure yours would be different than mine if you were to do one of these. So that's what we're going to look at. So let's get to it. Number 5 for me is the Archetype Lead. You heard it in the little jam right before this. Alright, so you can hear it's got a nice crunch tone to it. You can clean it up really good with the volume, and then if you jack up the drive on it, it gives you a nice rock sort of tone. So it's got sort of the best of both worlds, so to speak. It's a pretty versatile amp. In that little jam I actually turned on a fuzz to go with it, which sounded like this. But yeah, it's a good amp. It can do a little bit of everything. It sounds good, so that's my number 5. 4 amp is probably, at least in my opinion, the most versatile amp in the Helix. And it's kind of funny because it's a very limited edition amp. That would be the Cartographer. It can literally do whatever you want it to. It can do clean, dirty. It's got a lot of different options built into the amp itself. It's got 2 different drives. It's got, 2 different brights. It's just got a lot of different stuff you can modify to change the sound on it. You can do a nice clean tone, or a nice crunch, and then if you throw on a little Swedish chainsaw, you can do that sort of stuff. So that's my number 4 pick. It's a very versatile amp. It can do a lot of different stuff. You're noticing a theme here. I like amps that are pretty versatile. So that means you're not going to hear, okay, you're probably getting this from watching, but there's not going to be a lot of the US amps in here, the Fender style amps, because most of them are kind of one-trick ponies, and they kind of tend to stay on the cleaner side of the thing, and that just doesn't fit with a lot of what I play. So is the Brit 2204, which is a Marshall, somebody leave a comment if I'm getting this wrong, Marshall JCM 900, I believe is what it's supposed to be. That's a Marshall amp. It's a nice high gain amp. It does not clean up as well as some of the other ones, but it can if you get it really, if you turn the gain down pretty low. But I don't really use this much as a clean amp. So here it is. That's the drive at about 4.5. What I like to do is the old trick of turning on a tube screamer with the gain all the way down. I think it really tightens up the sound really well, so let's do that again. I'm going to play it once without it. It just tightens it up. It makes it sound a lot better. And now let's turn the gain up. Here the gain is closer to... this is max gain with the tube screamer. So, it's a good one. It's a great rock amp. Like I said, this one doesn't do much in the way of clean. I suppose if you turn the gain all the way down, it probably could clean up, but that's not really what it's designed for. It's designed to just give you that Marshall tone. So that's my favorite, my number 3 amp. and probably my favorite Marshall amp. For number 2, I'm going against something I said earlier. I told you probably wouldn't see any of the US style amps on here, but there actually is one. That's the US Princess, because it's a great amp. It's a great model. The way they did it, it's super responsive to your playing. So if you're playing lightly, you got a great little clean tone. And then dig in, you get that little bit of a crunch to it. Switch over to bridge pickup. And you get a great sort of crunch tone. Then you turn the gain up. And you get a great lead tone. Again, you're noticing the pattern. I like amps that are versatile, and the Princess has got that in spades. It can do clean, dirty, a little bit of everything. It's a great amp model. All right. Was hard for me to narrow down between 3. The Bedonk, the Line 6 Bedonk was up in there. The Revv Gen Red was in there, but I came down on the Revv Gen Purple. Because it is a great sounding amp model. Right now I've got the gain at about 4.5. That's a great sound right there. And again, I do the same thing that I did with the Brit, which is put on a tube screamer with no drive. Really tightens it up for you. And then you've got the aggression you can turn on. if you really want to go crazy, you can turn the gain all the way up, but then it gets a little hissy. So you turn on a gate. What more do you need? So that's my top 5 amps. Not necessarily in any particular order. It's not like I necessarily like the Revv better than the rest, although I probably do. But as far as the rest go, they're all just kind of, those are my top 5s. Those are kind of my go-tos. And I'll do some more videos of this series eventually, sort of like Jason did. I'll do, my top 5 overdrives, my top 5 delays, all that stuff, just because I think it's kind of fun. And these are ever-changing things, because if I were to make this same video in, say, a year and a half, my top 5 could change completely. And not just because of them adding new stuff, but just because my taste in what I'm playing could change. So that's just kind of how it is. I hope y'all have a great one, and I will talk to y'all next time.